morning. It's Greece Day, probably, maybe. I still have a couple of hurdles to overcome. I filled in the PLF last night saying I'll be arriving by road, giving my registration number, and if that's approved, I'll receive a QR code today. Then at the border, I have to show them my positive PCR test followed by my negative PCR test, and hopefully that's evidence enough that I've overcome COVID in the last 9 months. And if both those things work out, I shall be in Greece. If one of them doesn't, then it's back to Petrick and having to get a PCR test, and I shall not be in Greece today. So, let's see. It's 1,300 metres down to the Greek border. That's the first hurdle overcome. Even out in the wilderness still, this sketchy little servo still had Wi-Fi, so I've got my QR code. Now 15 kilometres to the border. This feels quite strange. I've basically come full circle in Bulgaria, and I'm only just a few kilometres away now from Drajevo, the village I spent the winter in Macedonia. I swear I recognise these mountains. Plus, I've been in Bulgaria for a couple of months, but I arrived effectively in winter and now it's summer. So it's been quite the trip. I've been racing to get to the border for today, and despite all my hold-ups, I can't believe I've made it on time because I've been invited to spend the weekend with a Greek family, which I'm really excited about. Just one more hurdle to go.
Guess I'm a non-EU car.
No filming at the border, obviously, but they gave me a thorough interrogation along with a rapid PCR test, and I'm in Greece! 7 months of waiting! Oh my golly! Too excited. Time for a beer. An expensive Euro beer. So I happily passed the afternoon on the Greek side of the border, watching the traffic slowly inch by. Technically, I'm on the motorway here, and the toll guy just directed me to limbo underneath the barrier. In a couple of kilometres there's a place on Park for Night that might be a good camp, but I've just read that it's potentially 3 months in jail and €3,000 fine for while camping, so I need to be a little bit careful in Greece, I guess. It's been threatening all afternoon, and I think I got a campsite just in time because it's just begun to rain and there's some lightning about. I've got some leftover Bulgarian wine. I'm a bit annoyed that it's called Tricycle and he's on a unicycle, but I'll let that go because... Can you hear that thunder? Oh, I don't like thunder and lightning in a tent. But it's the last of the Bulgarian stuff, and then it's off to the Greek shops tomorrow. It's going to take more than a bit of rain to dampen my excitement to be in Greece.